Okay, so continuing with this video, so our last one got a bit long. They are doing hit and run. Before I carry on, it's still the 24th of February 2025, but they are doing hit and run. So now I can actually relate the evidence as being consistent to the past. But it's quite clear that why animating and inanimating of any individual is a criminal offence, because there's nothing in legislation that actually consents having substitutes, to do what they're doing. And by the way, that portion of law is only found in the criminal laws, not civil, not any other laws. So now we're dealing with indirect criminal indictable offences, but it's an advanced one because of the breaches. And it's definitely it's actually discrimination by corporate bodies, and it's a lockout situation. But I've been locked out. I can now prove in my court cases that I've been locked out from government while I was actually working, because, just for those that have been watching or new on board, they stole my life insurance. They stole Unison Dance Crew without my consent. They did the switching. They helped the other people. I have a reason to believe they pinned me down with while these people live off the money that they have stolen. They split it up between them and changed things. And then that's why I believe I was pinned down in my set of circumstances, just like with what Henry's done. And they didn't expect him to actually live, to be honest. I could tell, that they were actually predicting that he was going to die. Some of these people were doing, his alliances were doing, and they're still doing that now with other things. But that alliance, they need to be caught and be charged for doing that, because that's illegal. So if you're a target individual, and this post here is basically, they hack everything. I'm always complaining to everybody, to the cops. They're hacking, and I keep changing my password, but they keep hacking, and I've caught them out too. They're in your space. And if they know the police ain't going to interact or do anything about it, of course they're going to, to them it's a game, and it's the thrill of being able to do it and not get caught. And people become addicted to that kind of a game. And that's what's happened. Now we've got a corrupt government that is now not, looking out for the best interest of the public, because, this is the worst system in the face of humanity for those, from those that are going through, like what I'm going through and can't do anything about it. But yeah. So go watch. I recommend you guys to watch my other clips. But global games or anything global commonwealth, treason has already been broken, meaning everyone in government or linked to these relationships, you can all be charged for treason. Easy. The other thing I must mention, I have found in the with my court cases, the victim always gets the priority, but in my cases, the defendant has gotten a priority. And get this, when defendant's in trouble, the public or the people, the alliances linked to the public, are actually inciting to the public to help the defendant not lose their job, or to help the defendant protect the defendant, who is actually the defendant. Okay, they've broken the law, they've stolen, versus the victim. And that's what's happened to me. So in other words, this Amy Denton is definitely, she's definitely on the wrong side of the fence. And then we've got Natalie, who's on the wrong side of the fence. And then we've got, all those other women on the wrong side of the fence. But the system is using them, and then They're using the originals for money laundering and tax evasion. And I know I'm worth a lot of money, but that money belongs to me because it's my money, according to the law. But all I'm saying, everything about what I've gone through, it's all about money, reputation, and fame at the price and the suffering of somebody else. I'm also using me and Henry's situation, which I believe I do believe God really drew us together for God's purposes, and to actually enlighten everyone about this new age system, because the crimes that it's very hard, people don't make out alive to actually tell their story, or even, because they, it's global. And I can understand why people in government are afraid to do their job, but something needs to be done. Personally, I think they need to take away the hub desk. They need to take away the phoning, like everything that they've done, take all that away and put back manpower. They need to do something to stop the global game, because innocent civilians are getting caught up and getting murdered, and that's the truth. So I have found that the criminal alliances that supporting these women, they are embedded in everything I'm doing. Okay, what they've done to me is really serious. It's assault and battery, and God knows, given the opportunity, I will be pressing criminal charges on everyone involved. Okay. And people have actually used my religion. They think that, just because you're a Christian, you forgive. Of course you forgive, but that doesn't mean you get to get away with what you're doing. Consequences, the laws are there for a reason. Okay, and I haven't found anything I've gone through as a joke. So expect the unexpected if you've broken the law, because I strongly believe in justice. Okay. And so also, while we're on the topic, Henry is not in a secret relationship with any woman. Okay. Women lust after him, and, it happens. People are obsessed over other people, but then there's cultures behind it. What I'm concerned about mainly is the alliances behind, in the middle, conspiring and doing the murdering. That is what I'm concerned about, making the threats. They've got, that's why they coded everybody, and one's got a job. And no wonder why everyone is scared, because it's true. But I'm not afraid to expose these people in my space. Okay, they're in my space even yesterday. And as soon as they see me recording, they take off. So that's pretty serious. That this game needs to be abolished. Something needs to be done, and that is serious. Okay, and their intent with what they've gone through with me is that they do plan on stealing, like they did when they stole in Unison dance crew. Legally, by law, I am actually the CEO, and then they stole my identity, and then they used the funding using my name, pinned me down in my set of circumstances while they live it up with the money. So obviously there's a group of people involved, and I believe these group of people are still working in the government. Some of them are, or some of them have actually disappeared and gone and changed their name and moved overseas. But it is a conspiracy. Anything is possible. So we're dealing with natural organised crimes. So, it's either things are natural or it's organised. Unfortunately, when people are being micromanaged, everything is organised. And your surrounding, you end up with fake artificial friends or fake people in your space, or they pretend to like you when they actually don't, or they set up your circumstances only just to try and find out information to use against you. But in saying that, gossip and hearsay evidence is not evidence, it's not legal, and it is always challengeable. There's a difference being discriminated than being used for a slave. But yeah, both of it takes place. Yep, shadow people, okay? These people, motive and intent, they're either for you or they're not. But if you're an exploited person, or for whatever reason people are stalking you for, anything that I've gone through can happen to you. And their intent is actually to destroy and kill people's bloodline, okay? That's what this system is doing. And that's a sad truth. So my court cases are definitely unlawful strikes. Unfortunately, all that becomes a suspect to everything that's happened to me personally and my everyday life. Some people have come in my space and I felt they expect me to forgive and forget. I do, but that doesn't, that is not acceptable. What they have done for me or done to me personally. And yeah, sorry, I'm just reading something. Okay, we're dealing with social media, good or evil. In my case, it hasn't been good. Okay, so they're using different people all the time. So sometimes I believe the people monitoring me, they've treated me like a stray, like I have no rights, and then they get different people that, in my space controlling and manipulating. So those people are either for you or against you, and I have found they've been against me. And this is what it's actually like when an individual is concealed. Okay, that's what's been happening to me personally. Then everything else negative takes place. Okay, so we're dealing with the modern system versus the old system, and what I'm actually going through is definitely the modern new day age system, which is 100% illegal. My case definitely falls in the crimes and crimes against humanity. Okay, going back to Natalie, I had made allegations about the South Korea incident. Everything that I had stated on my Facebook page is true. At that time, Henry and I were in a relationship, and she drugged him and slept with him without his consent. We don't believe that it's his baby because she had a fiance living with her at home. So yeah, that is that's on behalf of me and Henry. That is what we are formally disclosing publicly and denouncing anything that this woman is doing, linking to my court cases. Quite clear what they have in mind. Also, it puts my life and Henry's life in serious danger. Okay, while we were on the topic of South Korea, before Henry went to South Korea, he actually bought me a ring because he wanted to marry me, and we made a secret oath, which is also in evidence. I already told the story of what we went through, how we met. I still stand by my truth and what actually happened to us. But he bought me a ring and he was going to propose to me. He has tried to come to me a few times, but circumstances it's been difficult. Sometimes we both believe he was being sabotaged, and quite clearly that is what evolves around his set of circumstances and mine. But this is the ring that he bought me. These are his fingers. There's a video clip of it. But I've had problems with people are deleting things and then they start again. This Henry wouldn't be sleeping with Natalie or do all those things with South Korea if he hadn't had the intent of wanting to marry me, because he did. We did about he did. I asked him actually, if I recall rightly. I remember. I do recall rightly because I have a good memory. But I did say to him, after when I found out about the cheating incident, I was really upset and I was on the verge of making up my mind, ready to break it off with him for good. I realized that I had made an oath and it just hit me, and I said to him, do you realize what you made me do? And I was like it hit me. What were you thinking when because I take these things before God really, really, really serious. And I am a woman of my word and of integrity, and I'm not saying that to blow my own horn or anything, but it is the truth. That's my belief, and I'm entitled to that. But it hit me hard that I actually did an oath with Henry. And I did it because I fell in love with him. I did it because I had confirmation before I even made the decision, okay, let's give this relationship a go. And God gave me all those confirmation before I even started getting to know each other. And I was in a time of my life, I felt like I'd done everything, and I felt it was time in my life to find somebody for myself, because I've been on my own for a very long time, and that's one area in my life that is to find someone for myself. And I knew I would one day, and I just felt it was time. But I didn't, how Henry found me. He found me, and I told him when we tried to, to keep me in the conversation, because he wanted to get to know me. He wouldn't let me go. Text me. We're up day and night texting, trying to get to know each other, and that. And in the beginning, I didn't, respond quite quickly, but then when I realized God had given me the confirmation, I prayed about it. God gave me the information, and then I just know a good person when I talk to them, and I had that peace with him. I felt that with him. I didn't feel he was dodgy. And in the beginning I thought, oh, why not? Let's just have some fun, but I didn't expect for it to actually become real, and then us actually, still together. And then I said to him in the beginning, I'm not your type, because I'm not. And really, he really wasn't my type either, because, I'm not into rich men, not because I don't like rich men, because I do. It's just that, money's, I just know that they're, their expectation and their thinking is different to mine, and I'm just not. I just know I wouldn't fit in their world, because I'm not really into all the bling bling bling, glamour, fame, and all that. Because I prefer to be a private person, because that's just the culture and my background and what I'm used to. However, he persisted. He wouldn't let me go. We were talking and texting every single day. And then he made me do an oath, but he said it was because he knew he wanted to marry me. He didn't want to lose me. But then I had to get used to his culture. I had to, there's so much about his culture I didn't understand, and I hate it. And but it is his culture, and that's that's part of getting to know somebody. You got to know their culture, got to know their background. Then I realized how unruly the Hollywood world is, and how mean and uncruel some of these rich people are. Okay, because they're fighting over a man, but it's the way they're going about it is cruel. It's mean. and and there's nothing nice about being bullied by rich, powerful women or rich, powerful men. But I just think the laws need to work for vulnerable people. Like, everything's been by force. The only thing that's not force with me is me interacting with Henry, okay? Because he consents to me talking on our behalf, and I, he's the only person that I consent to talk to me personally. Anything else in between, it's been by force. The abuse, the alliances have been by other people, other cultures, other rich men, in all category, not just the rich and the poor, and other people just seeing the opportunity of taking advantage of a single person. And it is bullying, it is cyberbullying, it is crimes against humanity in every sense of the word. Because their whole intent is to steal without getting caught, and somebody else can get caught and get into trouble. But the whole idea, the way they've done it, is that the whole idea is for them not to get caught, and they live for free on blood money. Like, their intent is to actually murder the person or eliminate them so they can't be charged of anything. So I did a bit of research on what is crimes against humanity. So in crimes against humanity, what's happened to me is definitely a global game, and it's a global systematic attack directly against a specific group of people or civilian population, right? It entails murder, extermination, enslavement, deportation, and all the other elements of participation of a criminal group. And that is what's happened to me. So it's actually easy. Like, I've actually charged the Ministry of Health for genocide. But it's actually easy for me to actually prove that the people in my personal and private environment, even those in the church, all linking to me, have been coded and have suffered some way, or rather, whether the people also, when I was working and are the originals in my environment when I was working, who may have been affected and not there anymore. Like, like I said, the whole intent of this game is no survivors. But the whole idea of laws is to make sure and protect innocent civilians, all the system to continue. Because I found, and even just watching the TV and the ads on TV, the system is actually set out to continue the game. Like, new people are used each time, okay? So if I recall rightly too, I mentioned about my other friend Angela Jones, who I know she is not alive today. I believe it was a system, like, I knew what happened to her would happen to me. So I felt I was lured into a system that is, that has the intent to use a specific group of people for money laundering or as a slave. The danger is global. Okay, so it can turn on anyone. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. This can turn on anyone, whether you're in government or you're in public. And there is no mercy. These people do not care. From my point of view, I think they're very mentally unstable to do what they're doing, because it's not normal for adults to behave like children or behave immaturely like children. I mean, children can make, children can behave like children, act like children, because they're children and their minds haven't been developed and they need to be taught. But when adults in adult bodies going around indirectly assaulting another human being, acting things out, bending over their ass to show me their ass, and just yeah, just shocking things that they do secretly when I'm by myself, or doing their sound effect threats when they know I'm walking past. I mean, that's not normal behaviour. Okay, I mean, kids at school don't even behave that way, but the adults in my space have behaved that way. Some of them in government. And it's not a democracy, it's a conspiracy. So we're dealing with forces, okay? I've exhausted the system. And I'll just keep on my time, nearly finished this up soon. So I'm dealing with negative forces versus, natural and what is not natural. I have felt people have used my church, like, just because I go to church, it doesn't, they're dictating, and then they're trying to keep me somewhere, or what they want. I was talking to, I feel like they want to keep me in the past. They dig up my past to use against me, and they just want to keep what they've done to me is that I feel they've kept me in the past. Like, I'm trying to go forward. And when I do try and go forward and something good comes out of it, and I know that without a shadow of a doubt there's no reason for that to work, but it's because they're stealing it. Yeah, so there's definitely a clear case of the using relationship scams to do what they've done. No amount of money could ever compensate what everyone has done to me. But I have not consented to any of it. So it's quite clear that, the Natalie and her imposter, I mean, in reality mindset, of people with a straightforward thinking, maturity thinking, it's quite clear that if Henry got murdered, it means Natalie and her gang, and the imposter, they get to steal, not only they've stolen his life, and they get to steal everything he's worked for, and pretending to be him and anything else behind the scene. And so I'm denouncing all that deception, and I'm just gonna pray about what direction to go with all this. But all these things have definitely taken place in my personal profile historically, and I'll just go whichever direction God wants me to go. I know people, like, they've used my church. I felt people have followed me like an app, everywhere publicly, and then I'll come home, and then I'll go out, and the same cycle happens. But it's the same alliance. But I don't know, in their mindset, they are living in the past, expecting me to live in the past, expecting me to stay the same and not go forward. But the law clearly allows, for intervention, and allow for accountability, and also to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else. Yeah, so this here is the blood oath evidence that Henry and I, to be totally honest, we're very similar in personality and in our way of thinking and in what we want in a partner. And I know that other cultures have used me as the foot in the door to try and steal, and no doubt they've done that even now, trying to steal Henry heart, or stop him or him and I to be together, or anything like that. But both of us, we are not the type of people who are into set up relationships. We're both very aware of mental health human beings. Okay, I'm an expert at that, and I do know what I'm talking about with people definitely, with an impaired mental health. I'm aware of it. And so for those reasons, I'm not into set up relationships, and nor is and Henry, we're not into relationships where other women need, help from an alliance to try and help them marry, or I'm the same. I'm just not. And even if we never ended up getting married, I still, for me, I'm just taking one day at a time, whatever direction God opens up for me, and that's the path I'm taking. But people have used my church as some kind of that's where I've got to go. So they're sabotaging, using my children and my family to stop me from going forward or having a relationship with anyone. That is none of your business. I'm entitled to a private life, and I'm not into your private life, and respect is a two-way thing. So don't expect me to not shame you and speak my truth because you deserve it. Okay. That's the whole reason why we have laws is meant to work for both people, or anyone, whether we're rich, poor, or just middle class. But I know that some of my video clips, you can hear me. I'm the aggrieved victim. Okay, I've done everything right. Those that are abusing me knows that the person is aggrieved, knows that they're actually getting a kick out of another person's suffering. Like that is what we're up against, somebody who's actually feeding off other people's pain and suffering. I know I'm pretty old school, and I kind of learned all these kind of things when I was in school. So I don't know what they're teaching school today, but some of the human beings behind what I'm going through, they have no empathy, they have no respect for other people. They're cold, the cold-blooded murderers. Okay, they are a coward in every sense of the word. They don't like conflicts, but they're getting a thrill at stealing and free money and making a living on this game. Okay, so I think I will end this video soon. But I do feel that I do need to denounce and challenge the gossip and everything else because of my court cases and my applications that I've got, and also for the sake of Henry's safety and my safety, and for the sake of the safety of my own family, and for others to know how to protect themselves. Okay, but the people, like what I've gone through, the system, how easy it is to actually do what they do and not get caught. So by law, the government, they have to compensate victims. It's law. But I've had that suspicion how people behind the scene can actually conspire, like they've stolen my identity before, and so I'm always at risk until those legal unlawful strikes are actually compensated. Okay, but I feel that the cyberbullying also is because they don't want to finalize legally and close my cases. And that's why they're always conspiring, and it's a global game, making everybody in danger. So we're dealing with modern, new age Commonwealth, and also an illegal conspiracy, 100%. So if you don't know what a conspiracy is, my channel it's all talks about plots and plans done in advance, after the fact, and it is real. Okay, I don't think what's happened to me has ever happened in the old system. I'd never ever heard of it. Maybe it existed, but I never in my life can think I would actually be a victim to it. But I feel God wanted me to be actually a witness to it, because everything actually makes sense from going back to how I actually got the job. I haven't, disclosed how spiritually how God led me. I have disclosed how I got the job, but spiritually, other things that all make sense to why I'm doing what I'm doing today, and that my journey has definitely been set out specifically for myself. So I've just put in here, you know how they've got Jack the Ripper, that's a serial murderer. If you don't know who that is, I think you just research it yourself. But that man was, he was a serial murderer who killed quite a lot of women. I believe, and the best way to describe what I've gone through, they call it Jack the Ripper, because everything is meant to be a joke for the originals, while the actual real thieves are doing what Natalie and the imposter are doing and all those other women. Okay? But it's a global game. But it is definitely a home invasion. It is the lockout can happen anywhere. The lockout can happen while you're at work. It can happen while you're at home. And yeah, it's quite serious. And I believe it is also what the Bible calls the 666 system. Okay? I'm a witness to it, so I know what I'm talking about. But the victims are actually animated. And yeah. Okay, so I think I'm going to finish this clip here. This clip's a continuation from the last clip, so I'll just finish it up. So thanks for watching Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Minna Kreischer, and I'm narrating this video clip, and I'll see you in my next video clip in the moment.